All right. Hey, what's up, guys? How's everyone doing? This is jalapablo. I hope everyone is having a spectacular day. It's a wonderful day. I was just outside, beautiful weather again. It's 2 days in a row. Just blue, blue sky, crystal blue, with a little bit of a crisp in the air. Not as much as yesterday, but it's just outstanding weather. I love it. And it's also it's also a wonderful day to be charting crypto. Now we've had some activity in Bitcoin, haven't we? And some of you might be interested. What's going on? What was all that about? This we just had a pump, and so if you're if you're not used to navigating through the complexities of, say, these market um, market movements, then I guess it could be a pretty intimidating thing, right? It's like if you're out, say you're out hiking in the Rockies and you get lost, even though it's beautiful, the surroundings all around you is beautiful. If you're lost and you're not quite sure how to get back to your car, you can't really enjoy the lakes and the snow-capped mountains and all the beautiful nature surrounding you. It's kind of like in the back of your mind's that nagging, where in the world am I and how am I going to get home back to my car or back to the campsite before it gets dark? And then I'm really lost. But it's much different if you know exactly where you are out in the wilderness. Then you can enjoy the nature. You could soak in the scenery and just the beauty of God's creations. And it's sort of how it is with Bitcoin, the markets that we're in. If you know where we are and what's going on, you could sit back and enjoy the fireworks. And so I'm enjoying the fireworks. This is also spectacular. So I'm just going to with this video, I'm just going to let you just kind of have a little bit of an insight as to what I'm seeing. And hopefully, like me, you could sit back and enjoy the scenery and uh, wait for uh, wait for the big move, which I believe is coming. We just got to be patient, right? Patience is a virtue, and uh, this is the pinnacle of the truth of that statement uh, is in crypto, shines when it comes to, like, crypto trading and I suppose forex also, and stocks. You need patience overall, but especially in crypto, if you're able to wade through the volatility and all the hoopla that's going on and just wait and wait your turn and then make the move, boy, it could be extremely lucrative. So, all right. So Bitcoin on the macro here. All right. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on here. Just a quick observation. Two things I want to show you. Uh, Here, the redistribution. This is 2026. This is where we are here. We got these two liquidity impulses here. Now this is on the daily with the rising micro trend support line. We're still above the 200 weekly SMA, and notice that this move that we just had came on kind of low demand, wouldn't you say? In comparison to, say, like this here, this this markup that we had back in November of 24. Yeah, I mean, the bit you know for Bitcoin, we've had much more demand for the actual UTAD than this this impulse that we just had uh, yesterday and today, which all of it's done really is mitigate the liquidity void of the UTAD up at around 74,000. But it did it on much lower demand than it did last time. So it was kind of like a low demand pump, a low volume pump. So that's something to take into consideration if you're inclined to kind of get spooked out thinking, hey, did I miss the plane? Did I miss the bus to paradise? Well, just hold on. There are some things we can investigate here before we begin to panic. And this is one of them. We look at these twin liquidity raids, the UTAD, and then this UTAD mitigation. And the actual first raid happened on much higher demand than this. So now we go down into the Newpol and we look and we see here, we see this, you see the micro trend support line in the price action rising, right? This is the lows starting at this lower wick, the selling climax, and then going up here on an incline. You can see that, right? Well, we look correspondingly down in the Newpol, we have pretty much a flat line. And so we know that when we have flat lines in the Newpol, in contrast to either a sloping up or sloping down in the price action, usually what happens is after that, the price action goes opposite of the slope of its own slope. So that's just a principle of Newpol and price action divergences. We see here that we had this like hook. Remember we talked about the little hook, the UTAD hook in the Newpol coming up to meet the exponential moving average here coming down. So we had a hook and then a touch. All right, so let's go to the sister fractal and see if there's anything that corresponds to what's playing out today. So here's a sister fractal. It kind of had two liquidity runs at the tail end of this range, of this redistribution. We had the same kind of incline of the higher lows here. You see it, right? Now we go down to the Newpol. We look and see what's happened in the Newpol. From the deep wick, from the selling climax, it's pretty shallow. The wave in the Newpol is shallow. It's almost like a flat line, kind of. It could all fit into this little rectangle, kind of like here. Same kind of thing. So again, we have a flat line more or less in the Newpol with the waves, and then we have this upslope along the lows in the price action redistribution. And so the price went opposite of the slope in the price action in comparison to the flat line of the Newpol. So this is a form of divergence. So, you know, when we have divergence, it's easy when we have like an upslope in the price action and then a downslope, a pronounced downslope in the Newpol. You know automatically that the price is going in the direction of the Newpol. But when the Newpol is sideways or horizontal, more or less like this, just remember that the price goes contrary, opposite to where the slope is faced in the price action. So if you just kind of remember that hack, it's kind of useful. And then we see the same hook here. Where the Newpol line came up. You know, 4 years ago it didn't quite touch the EMA, but it came close enough. We still had the same kind of pattern. We had the UTAD hook, and then we had that one last kind of liquidity raid. Now the liquidity raid from 4 years ago didn't mitigate the UTAD liquidity void, so it only reached as high as like the liquidity under the first LPSY. In contrast to today, I mean, we went all the way up to and we rated the liquidity in the UTAD void here. So this was unique. Remember the video yesterday? I told you beware of these sort of the machinations or the shenanigans of the market maker. So we see that here. You see, in contrast, like 4 years ago, we had these impulses down. We had these swaths up and down and back up again and back down. And then we had this tapering off and the symmetrical tapering off until we had the ice capitulation. And then it was macro down from there. Well, look at the contrast this year. This is why it's always different. The macro is the same, but the micro, the striations within the micro have infinite variety. There could be all kinds of, it gives the market maker, the composite operator, lots of leeway to raid liquidity, to be driven by emotion or by current news, or all different sorts of, catalytic components that could alter the trajectory of price action. So if you're just going off by rote the waves that the previous fractal cycle printed out, you're going to get wrecked. Now, I can't emphasize that enough, and that's what happened to a bunch of traders last year that I know, that I was trying to help. But this didn't happen this year. Hopefully more people are taking heed to this and doing smarter analysis. So in differentiation to what happened 4 years ago, we had this very bold kind of liquidity run here, all the way up to the UTAD, mitigates to 74,000. Now I haven't moved any of these from yesterday. You can go back and look at the video, but you could see it just hit the top and came back down. Remember me saying yesterday, if it could go all the way up and sweep the UTAD, it'll be kind of shocking a little bit. It's not what I sort of expected, but nonetheless, just because it happens, it doesn't invalidate it. It's just like, it's just a market maker up to no good again, basically, you know. Um, and I said that this area here was they're trying to project a show of bullishness to get people in to start leveraging with the so that they can offload or sell into this supply block, which is here in the UTAD void, liquidity void. And that's exactly what they did. And they promptly brought it back down. And now we're on top. We sit on top of this micro trend resistance line here, kind of like this here. Whereas again, 4 years ago, we were beneath it. Today, we sit atop it. So like this is really kind of interesting, and so we look down here at the Nupal and see what's going on. Everything is corresponding in the Nupal. We had this test area here where we launched from the ice, in this case, well underneath the ice, from the microtrend support line. 4 years ago was kind of in the same area where we launched this test from, and we came all the way up. Now, this constitutes this second LPSY order block wave, this wave that came up and sold in to the LPSY order block. Now, what I'm looking for now and what seems to be happening is I'm looking for a bend now for this wave here. And I think we're going to see that if this thing begins to retrace from this second LPSY block, we're going to see this top Nupal line here. It's already beginning to bend, to curve. You see it, and eventually, what I anticipate happening is this thing going start going under this trend line here. And so that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. And that's going to happen if the candles begin making their way back down to this creek area here, or the anchored VWAP, which is at 68. So someone in my group's like, we don't drop straight to 68. No, because the bulls have taken this line here. The bulls actually prevailed. They busted up through the order block, and they actually hit the ringer here, swept the UTAD liquidity void and came back down. So they're not going to concede. This is ground that they flipped. They're not going to concede this so readily. We're just not going to cut right through it like a hot knife through butter and go straight back down to the ice. No. This is area now. This is where the bulls have, they're going to try to set up encampment here and flip this and make a ground out of it, make a headquarters. They're going to try to plant the flag here and then have subsequent relaunches from it and try to take this UTAD void again. And if they're able to do that and establish a support line on top of 74 and close, say on a daily, on top of this UTAD line, then we could be looking into the possibility of a real invalidation of these fractals, because I don't see anything like remotely close to that. All of this here, all these liquidity voids capped out beneath the UTAD. So that's really what needs to happen. We've gotten pretty close here. We capped out and came down. So any subsequent leg up launching from this micro trend, now this is the support line. If the bulls are able to hold it, then yeah, we could be in danger of invalidation. But that's only if the bulls are able to hold it. Like I said, we go back to the macro here, and this launch was on low demand. So they're going to have to really, look at this demand here. Demand's actually decreasing. So yeah, they took it, but it could be like just surface level, like a surface level. And that's basically what a liquidity rate is. They're not meant to stay up here long term. They're meant to sweep the liquidity, turn retail into exit liquidity, and then dump. And so, but the dump doesn't occur all at once, and that's the point I was trying to make. So yeah, this could be nail biting stuff. It could be stressful, especially if you got skin in the game. But like, for me, it's just really interesting. It's like watching an MMA or like a good like a good jujitsu match or like a judo match. I study Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or used to, and so it's you're looking at technique, you're looking at it's or like a chess game for those that play chess. I play chess also, so this is not unlike chess. And so now we go into the 30-minute divergence between price action and the Nupal, and we have a clear divergence. I mean, it can't get any more clear than this, right? So this is this is the UTAD, this is the sweep that we just, this is the old UTAD, and this was the series of LPSYs, and then it swept the liquidity again from the UTAD, and so we have clear rising highs here in the price action. Remember, because we broke out of this descending triangle. Now we're coming back down. We look at the Nupal correspondingly, and we have lower highs. So this is clear divergence. So this is yet another kind of mark against the bulls that, first it was on low demand, and second, we've got clear divergence on the 30-minute between the Nupal and price action. So yeah, it's looking even more unsustainable now, right? Right, guys? So now we go even further. Let's see what we have here. And here we have, this is the 5-minute, so this is a micro forensic, and here is just drawn out the UTAD level liquidity void that has been mitigated. You see the mitigation here. This is what we've just come out of. And this is a clear rejection. Look at the supply volume of this rejection. This is making a statement. This is a resolute rejection from re-entering this kind of like a megaphone here. I wouldn't even call this a wedge. This is just like this is just a rising megaphone, right? And so remember when I was teaching you guys about thinking of price action like water. This is kind of like something like if I wanted to teach like a young person, a very young person, like a 6th grader, 7th grader, like an adolescent, how to trade. This is the illustration I give. Think of price action like water, and it's shooting up into this hose, and the hose is expanding like this. Eventually, so this water or this price is looking to escape this structure. It doesn't want to stay within the structure, so it's looking to break out. And in this case, it broke out to the bottom. So we have this leak. So the water is leaking out of the hose here. Well, as soon as the water leaked out of the hose, it decided it didn't want to be out in the open anymore. It wanted to get back into the hose because it was nice and comfy and warm in here, and it was, it was having a good time. So it figured it made a mistake, so it wants to get back in. But look what happened here. It's closed. It's not able to get back in. So it's bouncing off. We have 2 major knocks here to get in, but the doors have closed like Noah's Ark. And so we have a rejection, comes back down, and this usually happens around the ice/creek area of the anchored VWAP. And so now we see, this was that triangle that we were looking at. It broke out, it broke to the north, and now look, it's trying to get back in. It's making another attempt. It says, let's try again. Maybe the door's open this time. So it came up. Now we trace this micro trend support line. This was micro trend support until here where the water escaped, and then it became micro trend resistance. So you could actually color code this first part as green and the second part as red because it's a wall here. It can't get in. So it had one last try, and it just so happened, and this is really cool, right? It just so happened that the area of the wall where it's trying to breach to get back in to the megaphone happens to be right at the top at 74,000 of this liquidity void. It is the liquidity void mitigation point. It's coincidence? I think not. And so we have rejection here. And not only that, we have rejection on extremely high supply. We haven't seen this sort of supply since like down here. And this was an anomaly here because we had all this supply and we had very little spread. We had very little movement. This was a big cause, but we had a very, very small effect. So we knew that we weren't going to break down through the support level here. But we broke down here instead, and look at the difference in supply. So when we see anomalies like this, it's usually not going in favor of the color of the volume. Okay, so that makes sense, I hope. But here we see that this actually, this was a big cause, wouldn't you say? And look at the effect. The cause and the effect correlated. So yeah, and so this was a legit rejection. And where did it reject from? Well, it rejected not so much the micro trend resistance line of the megaphone to get back into after the break of structure. No, it rejected off the top of this liquidity void. So basically, so what this did was it swept the liquidity up here. There was a liquidity pool, a liquidity order block. There was an order block, swept it. A lot of supply was sold into it. Was bought by retail, and then the informed interests pulled out, and so that's what makes it fall now. Because the strong hands move away, they can't keep Bitcoin up. They can't keep the crypto up because strong hand liquidity is gone. Now all you have are weak hands holding the liquidity, and weak hands are not strong enough to keep this asset afloat, and so it dumps from here. This is all meticulously planned, and when you learn the machinations and the shenanigans of the market makers, all of this begins to make sense. It's psychological warfare. That's why I love it so much. I used to be I was an interrogator in the military. I was a Russian interrogator in the military for many years, and so I love like NLP, neuro linguistic programming. If any of you know what that is, so this is just kind of how my mind works, uncovering this stuff. And it's not enough to see the effect, but I like to know the details behind it. What makes it work? What makes the clock work? The gears, the different gears, and all that. Because then again, if you have an understanding of that, then there's nothing to fear anymore. It's like I said at the beginning of this video. It's like being, it's a lot different of being lost in the, in the Smoky Mountains, not knowing, or up in the Yukon, not knowing where you are, and you got all this beautiful scenery around you, but you're lost. You're lost in your mind. You can't enjoy the scenery. You don't know what's going on. You're freaking out. It's a big, big difference from knowing where you are. And so knowing the intentions and the machinations of the market maker, it allows you to enjoy crypto analysis, trading, investing, whatever, because you're acquainted. You know the ins and the outs of it. You know the neuro-linguistic programming of it. You know what every twitch means. When someone's talking to you and they rub their nose, or you ask them a question and they fix their glasses, or they straighten their pants. All of this means something. Not to everyone, but only those who are trained to look for it, who know what to look for. So it's kind of like that with technical analysis. It's a skill that can be learned. It can be appropriated. You just need to put in the time. And with that, all right, I'm about to let you guys go. I don't want this to go on too long. This is just a straight Wyckoff. I have the two major order blocks now that pertain to us way up here, just in case I put the preliminary support order block, and this caps out at around 78 Gs and enters in around 76.5. And so this only becomes relevant pertinent if we as it were, raid the UTAD order block. We bounce from this trend, this intra-range trend support, retake this order block, and then build on top of 74,000 with at least like a daily close. And then if that were to happen, it would look something like this, and then we get on top and we stay on top of this, we stay afloat. Then this area, this preliminary support order block, becomes a very, very real target. And so that would surprise me. That would be astonishing, actually. That's the word I used in my group, my Discord group. I don't see that happening. Doesn't mean that it can't happen. But again, we're not seeing demand come in. Indeed, we're seeing supply predominance, although supply is shrinking, but this is because it's settling. There's a big battle taking place. You know, like I said, this is this area that was taken by the bulls, and they're not so ready to concede it over back to the bears. They're gonna, you know, it took a lot of liquidity to take it, firepower to take it, and they're wanting to hold it. Some of them are very tenacious, like hanging on to it. Many of them are what's called sunk cost fallacy. Those of you who know logic know what a sunk cost fallacy is, right? You're in a losing position, and so you kind of go into like denial, and instead of capitulating or selling, which is what you should do, and just bail out and just write it off, you throw more money at it. You throw more money at it, refusing to believe that that you were mistaken. So that could be a reason for some of the tenacity here of like hodlers holding on. Whatever the case may be, they're going to hold this. It's not a straight fall back down to the creek. The creek's at 68.2. We go back here. That would be this. So there's a big battle raging in this vicinity here, and depending on what happens, this could trend for a little bit. But if we're keeping in with fractal range analysis and with the Iron Dome theory, going back to the macro here, this thing still looks like like a redistribution, a redistributive price pattern, and eventually the levee's gonna break and it's gonna fall. It's just a matter of how much liquidity, how much of an impulse is going to sweep first, how many are going to be caught up in the riptide before it comes crashing down. I tell you this: if the bulls lose 72,000, then we're coming right down. We should drop right down. There's really nothing here. It's a free fall after 70,000, a free fall back to the creek. And and now we're looking at something like this, and this is when I become excited, because I'm looking for this ice capitulation, because this is where I make my money, in this here. Not so much this. Remember the video yesterday? I said those of you that are intrepid enough, you could momentum trade these liquidity voids, these order blocks, the LPSYs, and I even told you what the numbers were for them: 70, 72, and 74, and the chance that we sweep the upper liquidity void, and we blew through all three of those. So anyway, I didn't trade any of this. I'm looking for the capitulation here, so I'm tracking the Nupal and the divergences. I'm going to be looking at it very closely, very assiduously, and when we get to around this area here is when I'm going to actually take action and begin to dig in. And so anyway, that's my 2 cents. Not financial advice, is what I do. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I think there's a person who you're watching these whole videos. You're not, you're able to hang with all the technical analysis and everything like that. And that on its own is very impressive, that you don't get bored and, click out. But you arrive at this segment of the video right at the end every time. And it's speaking to you. There's something that's resonating within you. Sir, ma'am, maybe there's several of you. You are the ones that I pray for. I believe God has ordained you to eternal life. God is working on you. And this is not a coincidence. This is divine appointment. I don't want to preach a hard message. You already know, your conscience already condemns you and tells you that you need to get right with God, that there's a debt to be paid by God. All of us, yeah. You say, the death is coming. You can't avoid it, right? We all die. None of us leave this earth alive. So my prayer is that God hasten your eyes to be opened and grant you the gift of repentance, so you can, sooner than later, you can enter into the new birth, be filled with the Holy Spirit, and then do likewise and reach others for the gospel of Jesus Christ, and begin accumulating, not Bitcoin, but accumulate treasures in heaven. That's the only treasure that matters, the treasures that last. Okay? All Bitcoin and all the crypto and everything in the world, all these computer systems and all the algorithms and all that stuff is going to melt. It's all going to be blown to smithereens one day. And only what's done for Christ will last. Make the right choice. That's true wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Again, jalapablo at gmail.com if you need prayer. You know who you are. Don't hesitate. Reach out. I love you guys. God richly bless you. Adios. Bye-bye.